What's up, guys? It's time for another episode, and I'm here with Mr. Yoggah, Gasher, and Dexter. So, in other words, basically everyone here is quite young. I am the oldest by far. Good morning. How's it going?
Morning.
You guys arrived on the dot at 11 a.m. Does that mean you guys woke up like right before leaving, or is the morning routine like early in the day?
I mean, I usually wake up around like 9:30, 10 anyways. So, yeah, pretty much the same. Didn't really change much for me.
I wake up at like noon normally, but we got me and Dexter got held up at a Starbucks, so we're planning on getting here.
Got some caffeine.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I normally get up at 9 because usually practice starts at 12 or 1. I like to throw before then. But yeah, unfortunately, I would have been earlier, but almost got into an accident. We drove by some ambulances, and it was pretty bad, but here now. Sure.
Okay, you made it. You didn't like crash or
made it.
anything else?
Oh, I'm good.
Good.
So, obviously, Yoggah, you've been playing for, what, year and a half?
In Pro League?
Yeah?
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half, right?
I think so, yeah.
So people somewhat know your story, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah.
But for Gasher, completely brand new in green. There's a lot of people out there that doesn't really know your story, I imagine, or like what you do for TSM. So you just want to give like a quick like who you are, what you do, and what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I've been playing Siege since like Deathline, like Blackbird Valk on Xbox, and then like I started playing PC Velvet Shell, it's like Jack Lemire, and then like I just played Combat ever since then. I was pretty bad for a while, unfortunately, but better now. And yeah, for TSM, I play art support, and pretty much my job is like to manage people in late round call execs, and then defense hold down the site. And I want to win SI.
You want to go to SI?
Yep.
Okay, that's the dream. Not winning it, but just attending it.
No, I want to win it.
Okay.
Winning it, attending's not the same. Like it'd be cool. Like going to events, cool, but like you just get grouped. It's like a field trip. I want to actually win.
Okay. Dexter?
Yeah, so for me, it was pretty similar as well. Like, I started playing on PS4 actually, like around Dustline as well. And then I actually switched over to PC on Velvet Shell as well. And I mean, I was pretty young when I switched over. So I would just play like I played T3 for a long time. And then right before, like, I'd say probably like 6 months before I turned 18, like I took like a 6-month break to go play Val for some reason. Yeah. And then I mean, that held me back a little bit, but after I turned 18, I came back, and then I was able to like join a CL team, and then we played I played one stage of CL, even less than a stage. I played like 8 games, I think. And then I joined SSG for the Saudi event, and then after that I went to Mirage, and now I play Flex for them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you the person that lived with XSET, like in that house? Yeah,
I lived with them while I was in CL.
And I was a lot of rumors that it was an XSET player playing on your account under your name because you're just destroying the competition basically.
Yeah, people were saying that a lot. I mean, I was expecting people to say that, but I mean, what can you do?
So is that true? Like that, you guys played for him or no?
That was all Dexter.
Okay. And you've obviously been at international tournaments now, Yoggah. You placed in top 4 at the Berlin Major. You guys lost to the winners of like Rogue and whatnot. So you've only played for a year and a half. You've already been at multiple international events. Is that like, because these guys, they haven't been there yet. So when you first joined Pro League, is that like unrealistic when you finally make it? Or is it just like, I wanted to get to invitationals, but then you get there, are you starstruck? Or are you like, that's what I wanted? Like, what's the vibes like as a new player?
Me personally, I mean, I think I expected to make like every event. I think when we missed the Mexico Major, that kind of Oxygen, we had a pretty rough stage. But yeah, I mean, I expected to make every event. I still haven't won one, but got a lot of time left, so hopefully soon.
But is it like you thought as a Pro League player? Because you, Gasher, and Dexter, you all wanted to be Pro League players. You started playing from a long time ago, but you look at it from the outside in. You think Pro League is this professional thing, and maybe you think it's a casual thing. But when you finally joined Pro League, is it like you expected, or is it very different from what you thought it would be?
I mean, I think it's like I expected. But I mean, I've been playing since the game came out on Xbox, and then when I switched to PC, I was playing with like pro players since I was like 14 or something. So I've kind of like been around. I've played like the T3 way back then, so I kind of knew what to expect going into it.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I always just told myself I was gonna make it. I feel like if you tell yourself it like enough times, like when it actually happens, it like sort of diminishes the impact. Obviously now, like I think when I got to the house and I actually like went to bed the first night, I was like, wow, like it's pretty cool. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Cause like even like, cause my perspective is like I was like Yoggah, like I never played pros. I never really like, did any of that. I was bad. So like, I guess to make it is more of I think other people more getting support from other people. I think more shocking for me because it's like I never had this and like I never was told this. Now I'm here and I'm getting support. It's pretty unreal.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like, for me, I'm kind of just kind of like Yoggah as well. Like, I was always like really close with a lot of pros and everyone. I used to team with all the XSET guys a long time ago in T3, and like, I traveled here a couple times before, like just to like come hang out with the people, and also I kind of knew how the system worked and everything. So when I actually made it, I mean, it wasn't like anything new for me, you know, like I kind of already knew how it was going to work and everything, but it's definitely like a cool experience, you know, because when you're from the outside, you're like, damn, that's probably like cool. I want to like have that one day. And when you actually make it, I mean, it's a cool experience for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I joined Pro League, I was like, it was pretty standard stuff because we all played from online back then. You know, we didn't have an NAL league that's LAN in Vegas or anything like that. But when I went from playing to casting, I was like, now I'm backstage and I see like production. I'm like, this is nothing like I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like everything is perfect and everything works, and it's like usually it's like putting out fires when you work production behind the scenes because like nothing really works the way you expect it to because like it's just so much work. So it's curious if it's the same for Pro League because you guys are what I think a lot of fans would argue and all the Pro League players, you're fortunate because like you guys are joining your first ever stage playing LAN, right, in the NAL every single week, even though I hear memes on Twitter about one stage side is cold and one is warm and all those things. It like, is that something you guys want to continue doing if you had the option to playing LAN every single week, or is the online league something that because that is the meme that some people would rather have?
I'd rather have an online league. I mean, that might be a hot take. I don't know if people would agree with that or not. I think like at least with like the way the LAN league is right now, I'm not a big fan of like the PCs and the temperature differences. I'd rather just play online. I think, especially if people are like live close by, I think it's like the same thing as LAN. You know, like 9 ping. I don't think it's much of a difference. So I prefer it to be online personally. That's just my opinion.
I love LAN. Like after my first game, I literally like said, I think I like streamed and I was like, the only way I can describe LAN online is like people are actually dying when I shoot them. Like they die. So like LAN, I like LAN a lot better. I do understand like like the left, like when you're on the stage, the left side is freezing. Like your hands are numb like the first like 5 rounds. So like I definitely get that. Okay. But I wish I want a LAN league just improved like that. Like just some things can get improved. Like I would 100%. I'd still put up with that to play LAN because in my opinion I just like LAN a lot better now that I've actually experienced it. And it's like, you know, I don't die to something and I'm like, oh, it's online, so I die. Like, I don't have an excuse anymore. It's just like, it's like, in my opinion, the better people and teams win because it's LAN. So I'd rather keep that.
I think you can see when you watch the stream as well. Like if you fight Ana on like an ARX and do like 47 damage to bullets, like 3 bullets you're down.
Yeah, and they're dead.
Online, it might take 7 or 8, right? So you sponge a few bullets.
Yeah, definitely agree with Gasher. Like I feel like online has a lot of like disadvantages, like in game, you know. And like even if everyone's still closed, which like the probabilities of everyone being closed is always it's not that high, you know, because different orgs will go different places. I feel like just if they kept the LAN, but then just improved like all the downsides of it, then it would be perfect, you know, like get way better PCs. Because if you think about it, like you're practicing with PCs getting like 400 frames, and then you go to the stage and you're playing with 180, 200 frames max. It's not the same, you know, you're not used to that. So if they just like upgraded everything that has the downsides, then LAN is always going to be better, you know, because there's no like swinging disadvantages or anything like that, you know, that just makes the game harder.
Nowadays, you guys have 360 hertz monitors on LAN, Yoggah. Is that correct? Like usually?
Not at the HyperX.
Yeah, not at
international events.
International events,
International events are always good. They always have good PCs. Good.
Okay, because I remember when 360 hertz monitors came out originally, you know, a lot of pros got them, and then we went to invitationals, a major, whatever, and it's like it's only 240 hertz monitors. So it's always like you kind of need to almost handicap yourself in scrims if you wanna basically practice the way you would play on stage, which it kind of sucks that you have worse performance on stage. That's what matters the most.
True.
If all those things were fixed, Yoggah, would you be okay with a LAN league? Cause
another thing, I think a crowd would be a big thing for me. Because it's way different. I feel like playing international with a crowd versus playing like the LAN league. For me, it just, I don't know. Without a crowd, it doesn't really feel like a LAN. You know, I guess the builds at LAN, but you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it just doesn't feel the same.
Also-
And then also, I just wanted to say like, I lost my thought. Sorry,
That happens.
it just disappeared.
It's Gasher's fault.
I had it in my head that whole time. I was gone. You can go ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say also the thing about like if you wanted to upgrade the LAN, if you had a crowd, there's definitely people who would buy tickets to come watch, and that would be a way to fund more money. Because I've been out in public with like Bo, and like there's people that go, "Oh my god, are you Bo?" Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like those people who are in the area, they would definitely come maybe to watch him. I feel
Yeah.
like there's other like then I think after watching other teams, they would just come like all the time, like the whole day, like just stay
Yeah.
and watch the
Yeah.
game. So I feel like that'd be a somewhat easy way to get some money to help fund some stuff. So I think that's what League does.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was actually gonna talk about that because like League of Legends in LA, they have the LCS, which is like every week of the season,
Yeah.
and you can buy tickets, before the season starts, and it's like every weekend you can come in and meet players. There's like signing sessions, etc.
Yeah.
Also for you guys who haven't played internationally before, starting with a small local domestic crowd could be a very nice thing. And go like, okay, now we're playing a major. There's like 2,000 people in the audience, and like they don't know who I am because they haven't seen me in person before.
Yeah.
So that could be a nice warm-up thing.
I think it'd be a mutually beneficial thing because you'd be able to grow your brand as a player, and then the game would grow, which would help the company. And
Yeah.
I think it just helps everyone involved.
I
The
mean,
only thing is it would take more time and effort to manage, but if you put in the time and effort, I think it's worth it.
I mean, imagine we got the casters in the same arena, the same house as the players,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We get a couple hundred people in there, like maybe even just 50 people, whatever the case might be. You have a clutch, like a nasty 1v2 or 1v4, whatever the case might be. You win like max OT rounds. That's a really exciting and exhilarating moment. Right now, it's like you guys are in an empty arena, and then the only real loud noise is that, let's say Mirage SSG game is Yeti standing up, storming across the stage, being like, ah!
Yeah.
There's no crowd being like, oh, it's so close, or they
Yeah.
won.
Yeah, I mean, like even when I was in Saudi playing there, like the crowds would only really show up for like the Saudi team,
Mhm.
but like every other game, like there would be like some people, but not the whole like stage. But like even when there's just little, like not a big amount of people, you can still like hear them like screaming and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty cool experience. But I feel like even for NAL, like there would be like quite a bit of people, because I mean, I feel like Siege is pretty big in NA, and people would just want to watch. I mean, people always complain how there's like, I mean, there was just the Charlotte Major, but there's not many like NA events. So like people would definitely start like I feel like people would even like fly out here for a week like just to come watch some games, like so.
Yeah. And so you have like a barn burner game, like I feel like there's a lot of those right now because all the roster change and everything else that happens in the NAL. But say like your favorite team was TSM and your second favorite team was SSG, and it's like they play each other that particular week. You'd probably want to fly out for that
Yeah.
weekend, watch those couple of games,
For
watch those
sure.
2 play
Yeah.
days, and then fly back home. I feel like I would do that as a fan, at least if I had the time for it, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of favorite teams, banger games this season, every single team but 2 have made a roster change. Astralis and XSET. DarkZero hadn't made a change, but then, last week/this week, they did the minus hyper plus guys. Who do you guys think came out on top? Or like, who got the best roster additions or changes? You can't say your own team. Obviously, Yoggah, you can't really say your team at all because you didn't make any, but who do you feel like came out on top where like they really got like the great additions and what they need?
I think the most like drastic change would definitely be Dexter's team, Mirage.
Yeah.
I think they had a huge improvement. So definitely Mirage.
They're competing now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
they're
cool.
They're actually a good team now.
Yeah. For me, I mean, before the season, I probably would say OXG.
Yeah.
Because OXG was really a really good team, and they picked up someone like Sweater that's a really good player. So, like, you just would have thought that they would have meshed really well and be able to literally destroy everyone. But clearly that's not what's happening. But I feel like that's just, like, some internal issues that's going on in there that, like, they need to change some stuff because I feel like they have a lot of potential to be one of the best teams for sure.
What about, you can't talk about scrims in detail, but like, is the OXG you guys have played in scrims before the stage started the same as the one we see on stage? If you don't mind, you don't have
I
to.
don't remember scrimming them, to be honest, because I was going through all the process of like SSG Mirage. I was in Saudi,
Yeah.
and then of course after the stage, like no one scrims like NAL teams, so I don't remember scrimming them.
Yeah, I haven't scrimmed them
Yeah, I
yet.
haven't scrimmed them either.
Okay. Maybe they don't scrim. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe they don't.
Yeah,
I
maybe they don't scrim.
Yeah. Damn. We figured out the problem. It wasn't just laxing. It was like they just need to find partners to play with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fair. I thought Sonics was gonna be like really bad the first like 4 play days because like you lose your IGL, you get like new players, and then like play day 1 and play day 2, I'm like I was so wrong because like Sonic showed up. Like,
Yeah, they look pretty strong right now.
Yeah, there was like this one team that made them look kind of weak. What do they call it? STM, TSM, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. You guys made them look like a different team on that bank matchup.
Yeah, we did some good prep work. Gotcha and Pudge gave us the formula, and then
Nice.
I'm not gonna say we executed it. I didn't have to do anything that game. I just kind of showed up and like had some fun, I guess.
Yeah, I think you were like on round 4 or 5. It was like 0-0-1.
My first like death was round 5.
Yeah,
my first actual like interaction with an enemy was round 5. So I
feel like, I mean, as a hard support, that's probably the best.
So I would like for 4 straight rounds. I stared at Angle for 3 minutes. I'm not kidding. And then we like round 1. I was like, oh, good job, guys. And then that's how we round went.
Yeah, and people ask me what it's like to be a hard support because I went from Flicks to hard support. I'm like, well, the biggest difference is that I will start droning, and then it's either 4v5 or like 5v3 or 3v5. It's like either we won the entry or we lost the entry. Yeah. I'm like, I guess we'll just lose this round. I guess we'll just win this round. Like, I didn't really feel like I contributed much in the scoreboard, obviously. But you can get impact elsewhere as a support player, of course.
Yeah, it can be kind of boring sometimes, but the last year it's like when you're doing nothing, it's like better. Like that's like the best time because that's when you're winning. It's like when you it's like the only time you actually do have impact in hard sport is when your team isn't performing as well, which is kind of weird to say, but it's like you kind of have to like your fraggers kind of have to be doing worse than normal for you to have impact. Or like I mean, I guess if you play like really aggressive, then like that kind of negates that. But yeah, I'm not
like Kino.
Yeah,
that's kind of big up.
I mean, Kino's an entry, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah, like the way XSET plays the game, especially you guys is like stage 1 basically. I remember watching you guys play, and it's like you guys would win rounds of defense, like a retake where like it was like I think it was bank against SSG. It was like an open air defense. They plant on like the kitchen half wall desk, and I'm like, there's no way they can win this. And then you just see the force of XSET storming through the building, just winning gunfight after gunfight. I'm like, yeah, they won the round. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the aggression that can work out sometimes. So, what's a normal day look like? You guys are on 3 different teams. You don't wake up at the same time. We already spoke about that. So, do you scrim roughly the same amount of hours? Would you imagine?
Probably. I mean, I'm guessing most teams double scrim every day almost.
So, like 3 maps break 3 maps, or?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes when you start at 12, then you do 3 maps, break 3 maps. But if you start at 1, then it's 3 maps, and then like a 5-10 minute break, and then 3 maps again.
Yeah, we'll do like rotate every other day. We'll do a double scrim, and then we'll have 1 scrim, and then a double scrim, and then we'll just take Saturdays off because last stage we did double scrims every day, and towards the end of the stage we were like starting to get a little burnt out. Yeah. So we changed it up, and so far it's been working pretty well.
That's pretty much what we do. It's like double, single, double, then we have Saturday off. That's kind of what we do. And Thursdays, it's sometimes off. Sometimes we'll do stuff. Depends just whatever we think we need to work on, how urgent or, yeah.
And it's like 1 day off a week, or what's the vibe?
Yeah, 1 to 2.
1 to 2?
It's mainly 1, I'd say. Sometimes 2, mainly 1.
So say right now you guys are all grinding. It's early stage. It's the final stage of stage 3. We got invite around the corner for some of you guys as well. So like now's the time to like fire up and then figure it out. Because there was that after Rogue won the Brilliant Major, like Leon Gids and Meepy made a very big point on Twitter about how Rogue's schedule is like super relaxed. They do like almost no theory. They stream like less than, they claimed like any other team, I think in Europe at least. And they were like, we value like quality scrims over quantity and player like enjoyment and burnout, because they're like, we can scrim all we want, but if we end up getting burned out halfway through the stage, we're not going to end up finishing up that well.
Yeah, I think I was just talking to Dexter before we came here. Like a lot of scrims, like depending on who you're scrimming, they don't play like how the teams you're going to play in a match play. So like if you're trying to play how you're going to play in a match, you're not going to be getting like, you're not going to be winning rounds in the scrim, you know, because the other team is playing just, you know, very confident.
Yeah, I mean, like people, especially like I would say other than like T1 teams, like people play completely different than they would like on game day. Mm-hmm. So like someone does something that they wouldn't do on game day and then end up working, and then it kind of just screws your whole plan. So a lot of times, I mean, I was even talking to my teammates about it yesterday about this. It's like a lot of times scrims are just useless at the end of the day. Like unless you have an actual like what's it called, a quality scrim, like it really just useless, because you're nothing of what's happening in the scrim is going to happen in game day. You're not really getting anything out of it. It's really just like playing TDM a lot of the time. So I mean,
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I will say definitely there's some scrims where like it's not like in my opinion, the whole point of scrims is for consistency, is to have a consistent strat, this is the way of winning, etc. So like, yeah, there's some times where like you just don't play teams that are normal, they're not structured at all. It's like obviously it's normally CL teams because usually one dude just gets bored and has no idea what he's doing, so he's just running around, and then it's like you're playing for the people that are doing whatever. But yeah, I definitely can see like there's definitely times where I'm like, it's not so much in the scrim I realize it, but like when I play the game, like on game day, I'm like, yeah, that's like these scrims are pointless because it's like people on game day either like they're more structured or they're more loose. It's usually something like it's usually like an extreme, and it's like it's nothing you've scrimmed.
Yeah.
So that's where to me it's sort of like kind of like what Leon touched on is like it's much better to practice or instill like teamwork in less like structured or less like set in stone things because it's what you're playing. You're never really playing just a dry ram team.
Yeah, as long as you have like a goal in scrims, like even if you're playing a more aggressive team, you can still work on like I guess your like adaptability and stuff.
Yeah,
which is always useful. But yeah, I think like we get smoked in scrims.
Yeah, I've heard some Kino stat stories.
Yeah.
Minus 1300 or whatever.
He's
Crazy.
minus a lot.
Yeah.
We get smoked all the time in scrims, but like as long as we're like learning something from taking something away from the scrim, we usually are able to do pretty decent on game day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like scrims is like really good for you to like what's the word? Ran out of my
Describe
mind.
Some descriptive words.
It's not consistency. The word is like
efficiency. Oh, it's right there.
God damn, bro.
It's just to read his mind.
Get this man a dictionary.
Yeah, my dad has forgot the word. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't remember.
That's fair.
Confidence?
No, it's okay. It's like scrims a lot of times is like to get reps in, just like to make sure everything's right and like make sure everybody know all the positions they need to be all the time and stuff like that, so that on game day people are not off position and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, if you're in the right position but someone does something dumb and then they just smoke you, then your whole plan is gone, especially on attack. Attack's the worst on scrims just because people on defense will do dumb stuff and then it just screws your whole plan, and then the round's pretty much chalked. But yeah,
remember way back when you only had 2 reinforcements. Half our scrim practice was just like remembering the reinforcements every side, because like if you messed up, like it's like, oh, you've been clubhouse basement. Why is dirt not reinforced? And you're like, well, it can only be one guy who forgot to reinforce it. It's like now it's like a team responsibility. So I feel like because of the nature of the game back then, it was like so much more set in stone and strats. And where now it's like you can just kind of play it off the comms, be like, okay, I want to kill some drones. Somebody else get dirt walls, and someone's like, oh, I got it, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think that change actually was one of the best changes they ever done, because like there's a lot of operators nowadays that they don't really have like prep phase utility setup, so like they just can go and get like 6, 5, 7 walls. When you have other operators that like Smoke, for example, they need to do a lot of rotates and stuff like that, put Showdown or Castle.
Yeah.
Castle's the worst.
Castle, before you could like barricade over a normal barricade as well, you had to rip down the window, push down the window. I mean, we had strats where it was like we would have to have like the Yoggah player run to a window to pull down the barricade for Castle because you just didn't have the time otherwise.
And then you still had to put 2 walls up.
Yeah, you still had 2 walls up. Yeah,
you'd be done setting up with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
So that was a really good change they did, actually.
I think it's been like a talk for many years. But like, what if they increased? Increased. Well, I guess they decreased the reinforcement speed, duration. Okay, they made it faster to reinforce walls, but only in prep phase. Because I don't know if you guys played Outbreak back in the day, but like you could reinforce walls in like 0.7 seconds or something like that.
My idea was just like cut prep phase to like 20 seconds and make everyone like 3 times as fast with everything, like sprinting and just for the
just zoom around the map.
And then as soon as the round ends, just stop.
Do the drones also go 3 times faster then?
I don't know. I just
otherwise you're not gonna outrun everybody.
I was just thinking something. I mean, maybe that's too much, but I don't know, because prep phase definitely is boring. Like there's no way around that.
Yeah.
It's like and then even like 30 seconds into the round can be boring depending on the map. Like it takes certain maps takes forever to even get to the building.
And look at Cafe, right? It's like
Cafe.
It takes you up towards 45 seconds to get to the rooftop to then open up a hatch.
Yeah.
I mean, so they could technically move people's spawns closer to the building. Like, say you're spawning on bank, outside front door lobby, right? You spawn all the way in the corners of the map. It could move you up near the front door, for example. Cut the prep phase like 10 seconds. Increase reinforcement speed a little bit, maybe. I do think there's ways to do it without like making it feel too rushed.
Yeah. I mean, with defense, I feel like if they just literally reduce the speed for like utility deployment, like for example, mute jammers, like they take so long to like put it down, and then you have to put 4 down. So like, I mean, it's not going to be like an advantage for if you reduce their speed. It's just going to make everything faster. So I mean, if they just did that, it would already like help a lot with like defense setups and stuff.
What about the current meta then? You guys, I mean, you played Saudi on the finger patch, right? That was the old patch. Yoggah, you've played during the LMG meta. I'm sure you loved it as a player, you know, especially in defense, fighting against them.
Yeah, no, I hated the whole LMG meta. I'm not a big fan of the LMGs, but the current meta, I think, in my opinion, is like one of the best metas that he just had. I think it's really good right now. For me, at least. I know some people like the slower, more structured meta, but I
think there's a good blend, because I think now it's like the gunfights and movement is definitely slower, but it's still sort of fast paced. It's like defense, like you can basically get a good gun like no matter what, unless you're like SG11. Even then, that gun can be good. And then on attack, I mean, my favorite meta kind of before this one was like the Raleigh Major, like back 2019, because I felt like you could always pick whatever you wanted.
Yeah,
just
kind of play the game. I feel like that's how it is now. And I've always thought it's better because like when Finka metas, like you had to bring Finka every round. Nades were broken. They're still good, but they were broken. Nades. Like you had to bring like every round. Like there was just, it got like repetitive and boring to like watch and play. And I think that like this meta is like you can bring again pretty much any ops you want, and you can win. And then impact the MPs have helped a little bit every now and then. But yeah, I definitely think it's better,
especially on like defense. I mean, like look at Rogue. They exploits on alibi every round.
Yeah,
bring a 1.5. Yeah. As long as you're winning gunfights and FPS at the end of the day.
And I do like the recoil changes. I do like that they did that.
Oh yeah, that was really.
I think that helps because I think that it made the guns might be more consistent, like with the horizontal recoil, definitely. But I just think that like it definitely reduced people just like pre-firing pixel angles perfectly, and like there's like they would just picking an angle shoot, and like it was just like not really skillful, in my opinion. So it's a little bit more skillful now, but I feel like that changed.
What about the suppressors? Because that's like some teams in Pro League they all run it, and then some teams they never run it.
Yeah, I mean,
where do we stand on that?
I personally think that like if you're running suppressor in every single gun, like that's kind of cringe. Like it's like I feel like you're trying too hard to like take advantage of it. Like it's some guns it's worth bringing because they just don't have recoils, but some other guns just have like it increases recoil quite a bit. And it's like it's not like your bullet doesn't make any sound, so like it's not that good like some people may think. But it's in some guns I can understand bringing them.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the gun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think like knock. Like, it's probably like 100% you bring it on.
Yeah.
Those are the gadgets. And outside that, I guess it's just preference shit. I kind of like Dex said, like definitely think certain guns have kind of bad recoil with it, so it's like don't force it. Just bring it when you feel like it, or based off your practice with the gun, whatever. But it's not really bad. I'm not like against it. I just think it's like definitely can be useful depending on how you're using it. And like again, like if you're playing like in my opinion a long angle, you can't see bullet tracers getting shot at you. So like you're just getting here's like the bullets whizzing by. And you're like what? So it can be good, but don't force it. Yeah, that's the motto.
I also feel like suppressor, like I know that there's no like damage like reduce or anything, but like in the back of my head, I'm still used to like So it's so weird for me to be running suppressors. Like even on guns like Sledge, a lot of people run. I play a lot of Sledge, and a lot of people run suppressor and Sledge because there's just no recoil. I don't even run it because like I just feel like I'm gonna be shooting someone and they're not gonna die.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've tried it on Sledge, like it feels fine, but I'm just so used to.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really personal preference. Like. Some people are nasty with it.
Yeah. I mean, so the first thing I did was that I went through like all my main operators and I was like, okay, this is the recoil with the silencer, this is without. If I can play the silencer, I will. But then it's like SMG 11. I'm like, maybe not a good idea, Like Sophia, it's still difficult, of course. You guys touched upon Nuke, Gasher, and it's like we've seen now a couple times in the EUL and I think once or twice in NAL as well, where both like Nuke and Ana they get banned out. And we spoke about nades. Yeah. That's half your nade operators because there's only 4 operators that has it, and the last 2 are Glass and Sledge. Nades being gone now makes the game more gunfight heavy, I imagine, in pro play. And I imagine that everyone is for that, right? Because imagine you're sitting on side. You're like, they're gonna do like this attack, and it's like, what are they? You get naded from below, out of nowhere. No yellow ping, no anything, because that's 6 of them, maybe 8 of them. Must be a relief.
I mean, people would literally do full on like just vert takes. Like for example, on Villa for like trophy.
That was my thoughts.
Trophy like stat. Like people would just stay kitchen below and then like get a cam in sight, and then there's just 8 nades flying at you, and like there's no really spot you can stay in because like all of master is nadeable, all of stat is nadeable except like that tile place. All of trophy is nadeable, all of Astra's nadeable. So like people would stop doing like for example study overs and stuff like that and just take below and then just wind around with nades.
Yeah.
And now I mean I personally feel like this meta is way better without them. I mean you see like one set of nades, 2 max sometimes. But before you would see like a whole team with just set of nades, like 10 nades.
Yeah.
Villa was definitely the worst map.
Yeah.
Defensively, I played an Astro, and I played like I didn't play main, but I played like I supported the main guy.
You
So, like,
convert, yeah.
those were the worst spots for nades because like
Yeah.
if you support the guy main, you like if you're like above front door, that's nadeable. You go play the holes, that's nadeable. You go to like the bomb, that's nadeable. Like and then like for trophy, it's like you're an Astro. All they do is get under. They start throwing nades at you, and it's like it was just pointless.
Yeah,
I definitely think 2 max nade ops is like good.
Yeah, that's fine.
another rough one is like kids bomb site on Oregon.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
The amount of times Kino got naded in there.
You just can't. You couldn't play in kids.
You just
like,
have to play in pit with me. Yeah, you have to
literally you
retake
just-
at like last 30
yeah.
seconds when you think they're gonna execute because you just cannot play in there. You just get naded.
You know, you have to
every
like
time.
drone it too, because if you're like big
Yeah.
window, you can see the kids bomb. So
Yeah.
you know like half the kids is
You can
cut
see,
half.
you know
and
exactly what he's in. Yep.
And I feel like nades now, like on this patch, is not as broken as they were before. Like I have a clip on my Twitter. I remember this. Like I was playing on. I was just hiding top white on Oregon. Like I was just at the concrete in that little corner, just laying prone there. And the guy naded like top white, but like not on the stairs. You know, like from like vert.
Yeah.
And they killed me. And I was like on concrete, like it was just with the splash thing.
Yeah.
So now I feel like it's way less than it was before. So
Yeah,
that's
they
also
reduced the
good.
radius, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, they reduced they changed how the damage drop off works. Like if you're like 1 meter away, you take significant less damage now. And then also like the radius in general, as you mentioned. And we're getting the Rook change midway in the season where if you have Rook armor on, you can withstand as a defender. So they were really trying to narrow down or nail down that grenade nerf.
Yeah.
But if you could add grenades to one operator, just one, freely choose.
I would say I'd probably IQ.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I slashed up that question and he was like IQ.
Yeah.
I'm so against that.
Yeah.
The problem with IQ is if you just bring her, she can counter too much. So if you give her nades, it's kind of like knock. There's literally no downside to bringing knock because you avoid cameras and then you have nades and your gun's good. So with IQ, it's like your guns are amazing, like all 3 of them. Then you give her nades and then she counters every op. You can call ADSs, you can burn better, you can call Valcams, Echoes, see where Cades are, you can EMP the Cades. Like that's why I think you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, like, I know it was OP when it had it, but I just loved when Buck had nades. Like, I felt like it was really good. Because Buck is like a better sledge, but people run sledge over Buck because of the nades, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was OP when he had nades, but I loved it. I mean, I thought it was really good.
What if you gave IQ the secondary EMPs? Would that be too strong in you guys' mind? Because
I think it's fine.
yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe
Cade,
a good chance.
Cade, I was talking to Pojo like the other day. The only hard counter that Cade has is Mav. And like there's just times where like you can't Mav a wall. Like it's not in your best interest to Mav it. So I think it's fine to have a hard counter to Cade.
And
it'd
Mav
be
lost
IQ.
his nades as well, so like you don't see as much Mav as you
Yeah,
saw last
Mav is
stage.
like Mav needs to go on. He's pointless.
Yeah.
And my Mav is actually not that
He's-
good
he's-
anymore.
Yeah.
So for IQ EMP would actually fit her pretty well. I'd say so.
I think like EMPs and smokes, and then she just let her rock. Or you can maybe give her a gun, but I just think EMPs and smokes would be good.
I remember the last time I remember IQ being brought in the meta was like the utility meta that we had a while back. It was like we're playing Cafe, we're doing like it's a top floor attack and we're attacking piano side. And you know, like this setup in Pixel and Piano is like got 3 ADSs, 1 shield, 4 magnets, whatever. And we would play like Thatcher IQ if they were available. And we'd like go on the roof and IQ would like basically like yellow ping on the ground where the EMP would get everything. And you just like 3, 2, 1, EMP goes out, nade follows, and you just clean it on one swoop.
Yeah.
And like Thatcher's always banned. It's hard to bring IQ these days, right?
Yeah.
And then the second EMPs just don't have the radius. So I feel like IQ could have like a nice welcome change where she can kind of do something on her own because it's the same as my Buck was so fun, right? You can bug open a wall and throw a grenade.
Yeah.
That you can't do that anymore. Imagine post and C4. Like, there's a guy above me. I guess I'll try to fall by him. Like, what do you mean? So
I feel like there's a lot of operators in the game. Like, it's not just really IQ. Like, there's a lot of operators in the game where they could make them way more useful if they just changed their utility.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, Ashe. They made Ashe guns good now, but like her utility's like bad. Like, you don't really bring Ashe anymore. She has claymores and hard breaches, even though she has a really good gun again. But like, she doesn't have really anything to like help, you know. Like, so that's why a lot of people just don't bring her. So I feel like there's a lot of operators where if they just switch their utility, they would be played a lot more than other operators.
I mean, you got Sophia and Ash, they're like the same operator, but Sophia, you get 2 ADS clear with the
Exactly.
stuns, and you can check a room, and you get the 2 soft breaches. So it's like, why would you bring Ash? Kind of scenario, right?
Yeah.
But then you also have operators that like Grim and Sense were like in professional play. They almost, well, Grim has not, I don't think Grim has been played in either EUL or NAL so far. I don't believe so.
He's pretty useless, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but again, it's because of like his utility. Like his Gadget is not like really good, but like if he had better utility, I bet he would be played. If he also had a better like,
Even
he only has a 1x on his
Yeah.
gun, so like on attacking, that's not what you want. So if he had like a better sight and better util, I bet he would be played more than he is right now. So it's like I feel like a lot of times they like misplace the utility on operators. You know, like they don't put the right utility on them, and then it ends up ruining the operator. But
You guys have all played, Gash, have you played Valorant before?
Yeah.
A little bit?
a little
So I believe you, except Bush, you guys play Valorant.
Yeah, I played a little bit.
Yeah, so we all know that Sense and Viper are like potato,
Yeah.
right? But the difference is with Sense is that if you walk through the wall, you don't take damage. There's no like DK damage like Viper wall. And you don't get pinged like an Alibi Jackal ping either. So like, do you guys feel like if you were to change how that wall interacted, if somebody were to run through it, would that make the operator more viable? Or is it a different problem that Sense faces? Because technically speaking, Sense is not a terrible operator on paper, yet it never gets played.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like, I feel like a lot of times sense walls hurt the attack more than it helps because, like, you got to watch the whole wall to make sure no one walks
Exactly.
through it. So maybe if it, like, pings the guy for a second or something, I don't know. There's some things they could do to change
Yeah,
it. For sure.
I mean, it's just hard to do. Like, the thing about Viper and Valorant is like you can deploy it through walls and it just goes down. Since you can't do that. You have to throw a lineup, and it's like
yeah,
it's just difficult. So that's why I definitely think
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
damage would be better because pings like you're just screwed at that point. Like in my opinion, there's like no like if you go to the wall, you're just dead. Like you're gonna get flicked on by 2 people. Or even if you try to run, you're getting spammed. So I definitely just think damage would be better. But I mean, it's just hard, like I said, it's hard to deploy. Like it's like the only time. Like, even, like, a good sense is, like, Chalet Kitchen. But you
Yeah,
throw it through a
drone
drone
hole.
hole, and then that guy's useless. Like,
Yeah.
you don't do anything. So it's, like, he's just extremely hard to use.
it's really like a situational op, just like Grim. But like with Grim, there's other operators that can do basically the same thing but better. You know, so it's like I feel like they do a lot of like situational ops, which is not really good. You don't want that. You want like a consistent operator. But I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's tough to make every op.
Yeah,
That op.
I understand.
Some ops are going to be bad.
Yeah, I mean, remember when Valkyrie came out, right? They said operator that has like, back then four cameras. Like this operator's crazy, right? It's like we didn't have any cameras back then. It was default cameras, and that was it.
Yeah.
Game breaking. And now it's like now we're getting like copy pastas of like similar job operators. I always wanted like a ladder operator, but then Oryx came out, and like he basically works like a ladder, but only
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. I feel like before, like early on the game, like when they would release an operator, they would be broken, like completely broken.
Mhm.
And then a lot of people start complaining about that. Now they're making operators not as strong. Like, for example, Blackbeard is another one. Like, that guy had a shield. He basically had 2 lives. Like, that shield wouldn't break. And he had a 52,
More than
52 damage gun. Like, can't get headshotted. It was ridiculous.
Mhm.
So it's like, and now they're making operators that are not strong at all. It's just not even worth bringing.
Asami.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, Zami.
Asami's
Azami's good. Azami's
Yeah.
too OP sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Chalet attacking library hold as against Asami while
Oh,
Ryan
yeah.
Bieker
Yeah.
is like one of my top 10 worst things that I don't like about the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what screwed us against SSG on the attacks. We just couldn't handle the Azamis. But
Any of you guys have like a pretty straightforward operator that you guys feel like is missing in the game? Something where you're like, I thought about this and I feel like this, no one can do it. It'll be fun to add it. You know, just gadget wise. I wanted a concrete operator. You know, cast a barrier could be you pour concrete on the floor. Keep it barriers basically is that in theory. You could use it that way.
I mean, this one might sound a little ridiculous, but
okay.
we were scrimming and so they had rushed the what's that site called on theme? The downstairs site?
The lap?
Throne or like
Throne. Yeah, they rushed Throne. And it was like a 3v3 and we're trying to retake, but we can only go through the doors because they didn't open the walls. So maybe like a hard breach. You got hard breach your own wall.
Oh, Shaz, my former coach actually had an idea like that. So it's a defender where if you reinforce, I assume you can reinforce on the wall normally, and your gadget is to like put on basically an exothermic charge on one side, and you can pop it at any moment
Yeah.
And it'll give you like a sound cue like Thermite. Like you can basically like, because we're playing Clubhouse back in like year 2, and if they do like a kitchen hatch drop or whatever, you couldn't, and it didn't breach turret, you couldn't retake through that way.
Yeah.
So if you could open up a hard wall mid round to retake, like similar as you
I
said,
think that would be a cool idea.
that could be a cool idea.
For sure.
I usually just complain about stuff. I don't really think about it.
You just complain about the bad stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I haven't
solution
had it in a
finder.
while. I don't know.
All right, I'll throw you a bone. What about, as a support player, what about an operator that can do half height or half length reinforcements, right? So you can change every angle in the game, because that's what Mirror did. Mirror would create angles that didn't exist with those mirror windows. Imagine you can do a crouch height reinforcement or a slim reinforcement to like slightly change the angle on like border armory wall, right? Make it less deep for an attacker, but still big enough to pressure like CCTV window position.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, that would
Like
be,
as an op or just the mechanic?
It would have to be an operator, otherwise it's too broken,
Yeah.
no? imagine every wall in the game would just like be different.
Yeah,
Like, that'd be
that'd be-
crazy.
I mean,
Like a Tetris operator, you know? You
Yeah.
got different shapes of reinforcements.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah?
It definitely would make certain angles better. And
Mm.
I mean, I guess it would depend on util and stuff, but it's not a bad idea.
they could just bundle it all into one, have them be the hard breach. You got like maybe one hard breach, and then you can do that as well.
Oh, I see. Now we're combining two operators.
Yeah.
That
that's
sounds
pretty
kind of balanced. Depending on the gun. I don't know if it was Spoit. There's some like young UL player who was like, what if we get an operator that's like 4 speed, 3 armor, doesn't have a gadget, but has a really good gun? And I was like, so you want alibi but stronger? Like, what do you mean? Because like that's like now we're going away from siege, right? Like the gadgets usually is what, like, in my opinion, like that's what we should pick the operators for the most part, at least.
Well, I feel like kind of took a Valorant for that one, 'cause like they have Chamber and they
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
just made an agent that was just for like his guns, and that's been a problem for them. Like it's been a huge, like, he's obviously broken, and they haven't really found a good way to nerf him yet. So I feel like that would end very well.
We can learn some lessons there, I think.
I mean, in Siege, it would probably just end up being banned all the time. Something like that.
Oh, speaking of bans, do you guys feel like how far away are we from adding a third operator ban? Because I feel like, let's say both teams would ban 2 defenders, 2 attackers. I feel like that's too much. What if you ban 1 attacker, 1 defender like now, but then you can ban either 1 more attacker or either 1 more defender? It's like a third optional ban. Are we there now? Are we there soon? Any thoughts on that? Because I remember before the Finka changed, so like last season, you had like Ayana was a problem, Finka was a problem, Thatcher was an issue, like whatever. Like I felt like I wanted more bans. Asami, Valkyrie, Echo, etc.
Yeah, I think now would be a great time to add a change like that. There's like, I don't know how many ops is there. It's probably like 80 or something, right? There's a ton of ops.
Oh God.
I don't know
I think
know
it's
60s.
65.
So-
I think
60,
I think
okay.
in the 60s.
I think there's plenty of ops now where that would be a pretty good change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that. It would probably be good, actually, with the amount of operators and choices that you have. Definitely would probably end up working out.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good change.
I don't know. It's sort of mixed bags. Like, I feel like Thatcher and Knock are like almost permud because they're both game changing, and then Mirror's obviously in that category as well, and probably Valkyrie Zami.
Yeah.
So it would definitely open up more bans, but it's sort of like, would you rather see people play against like game changing stuff or like be able to comfort ban stuff and then play? Because I feel like it'd be both high levels of gameplay, but it'd be different. So I don't really know. It would be better to watch or play. So I definitely would be down to try it and then see what happens. Go from there. But
Chess server stuff.
Yeah.
Chess server stuff. One-shot headshots.
what?
One-shot headshots.
One shot
So that
headshot.
stage should I go? Because I'm like I'm a support player, and my aim is not that good. I wouldn't mind that going away, because then I could survive for longer. But it's a very controversial talk that's been like Macy J's talked about a lot. I talked about it a lot. You guys are all young gunners.
I'm a big fan of one-shot headshots.
Of
I'm
course.
like, I mean,
I
maybe,
do.
maybe I could see like through a wall,
Yeah.
depending on the gun, it not doing one-shot headshot, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely think not through walls.
Okay.
Definitely, I think I'm 100. I think it's been this game for so long. I'm definitely 100%. I think if you're looking at the guy, he should die.
Mhm.
I don't even distance. Like, I mean, you can maybe make an argument, but I'd still be fine with it. There's problems through walls because like people just start shooting, and it's like,
You spray down a barricade, you
Yeah,
run by,
yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing, like, for example, on Valorant, like, when you're playing Valorant and you're playing the Phantom and you headshot someone and you're like, damn, he hit for 140.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
that just sucks, you know? You hit him in the head and now he's 5 HP, but he killed you. So I think that one-shot headshot to definitely stay in the game. But yeah, for wall bangs and stuff, and maybe, like, do a little bit less damage.
Mhm.
But
I'd be okay with them making
Definitely.
wall bangs, not one shot headshot. But
Yeah.
me personally, I like one shot headshot.
I guess it's similar to injure, because back in the day you would get 50 HP, half your HP back when you get revived, right? Now it's 20, because they made that change where it's like, oh, you injured somebody and you died. It didn't really feel like a reward because
Yeah.
they're half HP and you're
Yeah.
dead. In Valorant, you have healing operators or agents. So it's like, yeah, he's like 10 HP after if you ding him, but they have like Sage, they have Sky, whatever.
I mean, yeah, people would literally like if they were like 20 HP, they'll
You
just
get
jump
reset.
off the roof
yeah,
to get
yeah,
reset.
yeah, exactly. Shot through a wall.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't like injures in this game. The only thing I'm fine with being injured is like a frostbite. But like
Like
I don't like when you shoot someone they get down. I don't really like that at all. They should just die.
Yeah, maybe a cool idea would be like
Unless it's Doctor
removing it unless you're like have rook armor or something.
Yeah, like
Well, yeah.
have something, then it'd be cool. But it's like I feel like having it by default's really not a good idea because it's just like why? Like it's just like a general mechanic that shouldn't be there. It's just because it's like you down someone, they run away, but it's like you
Yeah.
won the gunfight, they should just die. Unless again if they have an ability, cool. Then like they're using their gadget, but
Yeah.
they're not. So
I mean, say someone's spawn peeking you, right, and they're standing up to see you. If you injure them, they will be prone level and they will crawl away. Like, you
Yeah.
generally cannot kill them, so it's like they just slip away. We spoke about metagames, routines, introduction. Who's gonna finish top 4 in NAL?
You-
Kind of like to round things up.
I can't count my team.
You can if you want to ego it, sure. Who is
Okay.
the top 4 teams?
I mean, you should expect to be
stage.
top 4, you know. Otherwise, what do you?
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully you think you're gonna be top
I mean,
4.
it's because I thought you said that like you can't say your own team.
This time you can, because otherwise it would feel weird, right?
Do I say it on order like or just the top?
You can
four?
just say the top 4.
Okay. I think Sonics,
Hmm
us,
With a smirk,
hopefully,
yeah. Hopefully, no jinx.
XSET,
Okay, respect to Yoggah.
uh,
Gasher's also here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Mm.
probably will be top 4, so I'll just say TSM.
What if TSM sucks ass? They're not gonna be top 4. Who takes that spot?
If TSM doesn't take the spot,
Yeah. Who's next in line?
then probably
DarkZero is
Yeah.
on the wall if you
Yeah.
it's right there.
I mean, DZ looked pretty good with Skies, and they didn't really have any time to practice. So
Mhm.
I bet if with the time to practice, they probably will end up being really good.
Okay.
So if TSM does end up not going, then probably DZ.
Okay. And then Yoggah, he said your team. You gonna
How
play
much-
the same homage?
I don't know. You guys are a new team. I'm
No.
gonna say us, SQ, DZ, and then probably TSM or maybe SSG.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like beginning of the season, I had my thoughts, and then I'd like the first 2 weeks I had my thoughts. Now I have like different thoughts. It's like DZ were not good the first 2 weeks, and now they look really good. Like even they look good, and then SSG I didn't think were going to be that good, and
Yeah.
they look good. So it's like an SQ like they were good. We beat them, but they're so good. So it's like there's so much like actual good teams and talent. It's like again Mirage, same thing. Like they're good. So it's like I really don't know who to put top 4s. I feel like it literally just comes down to just each week whoever prepares the best for whoever they play.
Mm.
It's just tough because like
Yeah.
even though XG, I guess technically can't. I mean, they could make it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for them, but
yeah,
they're so
if they
good.
win every single game, they get 16 points, and they would need some teams to lose to
Yeah.
certain teams so they could make it. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's tough because I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I agree with you because like we did caster predictions before the stage started, and we're all like, there's no way Mirage is gonna improve that much, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just 2 new players. Sonics, they just lost Super. He's the brains of the operation. There's no way they're gonna
Yeah.
do good. OXG, they were always been top 4, and they got like a good player for a good player, so like probably not gonna change many things.
Yeah,
I was actually the big interest that I had was that I was gonna look at DarkZero, Astralis, and XSET at the end of the stage and be like, okay, these 3 teams did not make a roster change. Obviously, DC that's changed now. It's the guys. And then I was gonna be like, well, is it just more beneficial to make a change because there's so much talent in the scene right now, or is it smarter to stay together? Because if XSET and Astralis above the bottom of the board at the end of the stage, you're the only 2 teams that did not make any roster changes. Have you guys put any thought into that, seeing how many teams made a change, Yogg? Or are you guys just like with the best?
Not really. We just kind of focus on ourselves,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I definitely feel like the best way going forward as a team is just you want 5 gunners. You don't want a guy that you would call like a support or like you can't really excuse someone not performing or like
Mhm.
getting kills. or not. That's not not getting kills, but having the inability. To
Everyone's got to
Yeah.
have like mechanical
skill.
be able
So
to
I
keep-
definitely think that like with XSET, they have 5 mechanical good players, so it's like definitely is very justified. And DZ obviously same thing. They have Canadian. Canadian works. He's not bad, obviously.
He's off the here. I mean,
yeah,
you
he's
see his
also
last
best
play day?
player too. Yeah,
Man played
And-
post shotgun,
yeah.
Keegan ready.
Yeah, I was gonna say with him too. Like, it doesn't matter if he's not known as a mechanical necessary player. He insures himself well, and he does his job for the team,
Yeah.
and it works well. The thing with Sonics is like super obviously hadn't been. He wasn't known for mechanics. So like with him, it's like when you upgrade him or upgrade, I guess in quotes for Geo, depending on how you look at it, right? People are like, oh, they got the mechanical skill now, and Geo is very calmer, and all that sort of stuff. And you look at my team, it's sort of like you're getting Gasher for Geo, getting Snake for Chaw, like they want invite, like what's going on, So it's like I definitely just think with changes, it's like definitely you want 5 gunners, like simply put. You
for
want
sure.
5 just mechanical players. That's why with Mirage, it was like, even though they got rid of Nyx, who's like, the IGO, the leader, keeping them together sort of thing. It's like they got 5 gunners who all know how to individually play and know how to work with each other. So I think I think that's sort of fine. It's just, like I said, it was just weird. Like predictions are just ridiculous because obviously VO1 has been like, every team is just on a weekly basis different than the week before.
It's whoever's performing the best that week. It feels like
Yeah.
it's like every team is. I feel like it's the most competitive the league's been. Every team is good now.
Yeah,
I mean, East Coast they're in an unfortunate.
It's unfortunate,
situation.
yeah.
It's hard to really rate.
But like in the past, there was always like
top
2 or 3
4, yeah.
teams who are not as good, and it would be pretty easy to get top 4. But now it's like you can't predict it because every team is good.
I mean, even longer before, like I feel like there would be literally like the same 4 teams every time, just going to every major all the time. And now like you can bring it up to like 8 teams, that are competitive and stuff, even 9 sometimes. So I mean, I feel like what Gasher was saying is completely true. Like if you have 5 people and those 5 people are just woke up on a good day and they're winning their gunfights, you're gonna win the game. Like it really comes down to that. I feel like.
So what about a roster change? Do you guys follow other regions? Like somewhat, a little bit?
Somewhat, yeah.
All right, so I believe Lagonis is confirmed to Liquid now,
Yeah.
like
he is.
yesterday or a few days ago. So Lagonis is known as a 0-kill anti like Super was, where like he just does a ton of drone work and a ton of IGLing and strats. Do you guys then feel like on paper that was technically like a poor change for them, or do you feel like that they like because Liquid has freaking Nesk and Pablo, for example, like they'll be fine? Because you guys just said you need 5 gunners on a team. That's what you would prefer. But then you have Liquid, who is arguably one of the top 10 teams in the world, some would argue, not making that change.
Definitely feel like with Liquid, they had PSK, in my opinion. I mean, obviously I don't speak Portuguese or I can't really have any way of knowing how their comms work.
Yeah.
But from my understanding of just like watching the game, he seems like a role player.
Mhm.
So I think, and same with BDS, they got rid of their role player Fall. So I
Mhm.
definitely feel like it's fine. I mean, I think it's better to have 5 gunners, obviously. But if you can't get 5 gunners, you can't have a role player. You have to have everyone somehow contribute. I feel like with Liquid, they have Nesk and Paula. Don't really have to go into detail about them. Then they have Resets and Ask, who I think were kind of younger players, and I definitely think Lagonis is probably getting brought on to just make them better, just simply put. And so I think that like if it works, it works. Liquid obviously kind of played slow, so I think with them, it's
Yeah, they
really,
do.
like I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. Even with like at Sonics, like Sonics got 6 with Invite in the nade Super, and people are like, "Oh, Super's not a mechanical player," so it's like it's definitely doable. I mean, it's not like
It depends
We'll
on how
see.
your team works. How
Yeah.
your team plays. I don't know much about like the LATAM region. I don't know how Liquid plays really, but I mean, I know they're slower, like a slower team. So you would think he would fit the team pretty well based off.
Yeah,
that.
and Lagoni's like he's pretty young as well. Like he has somewhat like of a mechanical skill for sure. Like so I mean I feel like on paper it was a really good move, for them. I mean PSK was really just like the flank watch for them, that would just play Nomad and Lion every round. And now they get someone they took off Ask off hard support and put Lagonis in there, which also has the mechanical skill. And then S can play like that more like flexible role. So I mean, I feel like on paper it's a really good move for them.
Okay.
But-
And
Would
then,
do you think flank watch is still like a role? Or
It
no?
depends.
Like our team.
I really feel like it depends on the map. Like some maps, I don't think it's a role like that you need it every time, but I definitely do think it's worth sometimes in some maps. Because some maps there's so many avenues of flanking and stuff that if you just don't have it covered, like you're probably gonna end up getting flanked. But I feel like that player can be doing way more nowadays than he would before. Like
Yeah,
before, I feel like people would literally just sit on the cam all around and just
Yeah.
watch the flank. Now they can do more stuff without having to worry. And also, like defense players, they know a lot. Like they know that most likely if they're gonna go for a flank, there's probably gonna be someone watching. So a lot of times it's not something you want to do. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
not as strong as it used to be.
I
for
feel like
sure.
in the past, you definitely like you would always have like one guy who's always the
Yeah.
flank watch, and now like at least with our team, like Diaz is technically the flank watch, but it's more like whoever's in the position to do it because like we might need Diaz's utility elsewhere. So like,
Exactly.
Mm.
like some maps, I'll sit on cams, I'll watch flanks depending on it just depends on where you're at on the map.
Yeah, I agree. I never really like saying flank watch like a role. Like I never really liked saying that. I just would say like, oh, you're flex, But I mean, definitely, I think it's just a job. Like someone has to watch a flank every now and then.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
seem to.
But it's not like one set person. I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
then
it's-
there's maps like Bank where it's like it's not really like a flank you watch. I mean, it's like you're kind of like like basically you watch flank as you're pushing essentially.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like a hard flank you have to watch. So definitely, it's just map dependent, 100%.
And then with your limited experience of other regions, if you had to pick one team from LATAM and then like EU, and if you can APAC, I know APAC's difficult, who's like the team you find plays the game the best way? It might be the 4th place team, but to you guys' eyes, they're the best from that region.
definitely Rogue for EU.
Yeah?
I think Elevate probably for APAC,
Mhm.
and then I think it's tough to say for LATAM.
LATAM's difficult.
It's tough.
Yeah.
For Latinum, I feel like I really like how W7M plays.
Let's say
Mhm.
Like they are just like it's another team that's just like 5. I mean, I guess not Julio now, but like they have 4 really good mechanically like gifted players, that are just insane.
Mhm.
And they had GDN as well, which was a guy that like wasn't really good mechanically, but like he understood a lot of the game. So I really like the way they play the game. For EU, probably Rogue for sure. Just the aggressiveness that they have is just crazy.
Yeah.
And then for APEC, I don't really know.
FaZe as well for LATAM. I feel like
Yeah, I was gonna say
FaZe
FaZe
are
are-
annoying to play against.
FaZe is my
They're really
favorite.
good at taking like the gaps on the map and stuff. So
Mm.
they're just very in your face.
Yeah, I'd say Latam probably FaZe. I've never no dislike how Rogue plays, but I feel like they're like extremely wild. Like borderline like sometimes like you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Obviously it works for them, so I keep doing it. But I'm trying to think, like I don't really remember all the EU
So
teams showing it.
most people in EU talk about like
Heroic, BDS.
Heroic, Wolves is a big name, BDS, and Rogue. That's like the top 4 names that come to my mind. I'm sure I've missed someone, and they're like, see us, but yeah, but it's like
Yeah, I'd say I guess Rogue then. I mean, I
yeah.
think they're a little too crazy sometimes, but definitely I think compared to OU teams, probably Wolves are
Yeah.
up there, but I think Wolves are still they play a little not slow, but it's like
Wolves is an interesting team.
they need to be a bit more explosive. I think.
Yeah.
Really, because I feel like it's not that they are like easy to read, but it's like when you kind of do things in a certain way, kind of like there's like BDS's problem. They kind of like you play like one way, you're like, oh, Shaco's dead, like we know that. Okay, now we gotta watch for the LM's rat, like the LM's play make, and you kind of do it. That it's kind of like a Wolves sort of are,
Mhm.
where it's like you kind of understand how they play, and that certain players do certain things, so it's easier to control. But that's the thing like Rogue, it's like all 5 of them are absolute freaks, so it's like like even though you have to be on your toes every round, you just know like someone's coming, like you gotta be ready for it.
Yeah, what I like about Rogue is like they just take a bunch of info and really good guns on defense, which
Yeah.
I think is really the meta right now because it's hard to predict like how they're gonna play at that point because they're just playing off the info they have. So like it's hard to read a team like that.
I mean, yeah, even like on the major, you saw a lot of times. Like, I even saw it on the UL again, like where Deepak would just pick Echo, like for example, or Oregon,
We're gonna drone hole.
and then just start droning outside, and then
Yeah.
people are just peeking outside the map because, like, when you have info like that, is really like, and you know where they're gonna be, it's like easy for to win gunfights. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely like it's really nice the way they play.
I think there was a round on Oregon when we got like 7-0 or something, 7-0, 7. It might have been 7-0, but I think he drove a drone out the front door on Oregon,
Yeah.
and then I think Spoit ran out and killed Kino outside
Yeah.
the front door. It was
I was
just,
gonna say, imagine you have like free intel and you say sport go kill, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty easy game strat. But what happens when people get used to it, people start mimicking it, or people just start banning operators like Echo, who's like giving you more freedom? Because I'm curious if Rogue's success was due to them being like playing very different than most teams, or if they're generally gonna like be like a top 4 team consistently throughout the entire year. Because like I see both sides. I'm like, maybe they could figure it out and they're gonna struggle, or maybe they're just that crazy mechanically speaking that even if information gets taken off, they can still hold their ground.
I think it seems like they have like a lot of chemistry, so I think they'll probably be a pretty consistent top 4 team. They all have good gun skill as well. That's really all you need to be good right now.
I think unless that Echo 10-second thing gets reduced,
That one's kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
definitely like that is too much time.
I mean, even for Mozzie Jones is like that as well.
Yeah.
There's too much time.
Because the Val cams is like really bad actually.
Yeah.
And then for moving drones like most of these
so
fighters,
good.
it's really, really good.
Yeah, and no one even throws a can outside anymore. It's sort of just like it's like I think I've only seen it happen at like majors where it's like they have a read and then they like throw the cam and go. You don't see that like normally done, but you see normally get done. Echoes and Mozzie's go outside, so I think it's like way too much.
For sure.
Cool beans. Any closing thoughts? Anything you guys want to say or talk about or anything else? Oh, yeah, got chat questions? We can
Yeah.
chat questions.
Some chat questions.
What chat questions? Okay. The hardest moment of your career. So
Like most difficult or like
I imagine it's like probably like game related.
biggest loss or like,
Or a
like
loss,
hardest
yeah.
game to play or
The hardest moment, or open to
however we
interpretation.
interpret that.
So you guys have 4 play days to figure that out. Plus Saudi. Unless you guys want to count tier 2, tier 3. Yoggah, do you want to start because you've played for longer, or do you need
I
a
mean,
moment?
for me, probably in CO when we didn't make because like there was the one season of CO when I was on Ape and we you had to win every game if you wanted to make Pro League.
Yeah.
You couldn't lose a game. It wasn't really a season. It was more like a tournament. So probably losing the Beast Coast
Okay.
because we'd been practicing like a ton for like the past year going into that, and then we just lose one game and it's like can't make Pro League now. So that was pretty tough.
For me, it's sort of like back in T3.
Okay.
I guess backshort. I've lost 3 different CL quals.
Okay.
So, like I said, I was pretty bad. So like 2 weeks after the 3rd loss, obviously I was like down bad because I was like, obviously 3rd time, like do I have what it takes, etc. I basically got dropped from my T3 team that like I was IGLing. So I basically got overthrown. So that was like terrible. It was like I just got dropped from a T3 team, and I was like, I wanted to go pro. I thought I was going to go pro. Like what's gonna happen? And then like that sucked. Because then like I think 2 weeks later, I kind of luckily got a spot on a CL team that pretty much was like, hey, like we're disbanding. Do you want to just form real quick and play a season?
Yeah.
And that was what I did. And then fortunately things worked out well for me and
Okay.
got the spot. But yeah, that sucked.
I mean, I can imagine your whole SSG Mirage thing might have been.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, definitely. I don't know which 6-1 comeback was worse, if it was the one against Liquid or because like the SSG game, there was a lot of like that game mattered a lot to me, because obviously I was on SSG and then unfortunately things happened, so that game was really important for me, and we were up 6-1 and I was performing really well, so that was really good for me, and then we end up, losing, but I feel like the Liquid game that we lost in Saudi hurts more. Just because it was my first tournament, like if we won that game, we would have made playoffs and stuff. So, yeah, probably that game for sure.
Okay. So if anybody in chat wants to ask questions, we can see it now. You can ask them, you can scroll through, but we kind of, Grant, you looking at me. Sorry? Oh, my moment? My hardest moment? What is my hardest moment? I mean, there's been a lot of them. I guess Raleigh Major Grand Finals, because like we played so well all until the Grand Finals, and we're so sure we're gonna win it. It's against the Empire, we've done that before, like easy peasy. And then like we lose mentally, like we're like not really being good teammates. We tilt, we don't come back, and then like we basically like start making all those like roster changes, and then like we never recovered. Like I feel like the end of G2 and that entire roster was like Raleigh Major Grand Finals. So that's probably the hardest moment for sure. I guess retiring was hard. It's like, you give up on like what you wanted and what you did for so long, but it always was like the beginning for new things to come. So yeah. I was gonna say Ghost Wolf had one that was like kind of opposite, was like favorite clutch moment in Pro League so far. He says Pro League only. If you guys have one that qualifies, go for it. If not, of course, tier 2, tier 3 is also welcomed.
Is that like other people's clutches or your own?
Let's do your own, I guess.
Okay. A tough one.
If you don't have your own, you could do just like period, If you have one in mind, you're like, that clutch is so amazing to watch.
I got to think about that one for a second.
Mine is so obvious. You think Brandon is emotionally stable enough to talk about SI 2018? No, he says nah. He says nah.
Is that the one where you guys reverse sweep?
Yeah. It was like the 1v2 at the end.
Yeah, I remember.
Me and Fabian 2v2, then into me to 1v2. Then it was Brandon and Young, I believe, that was in kitchen. Mirror and Smoke or whatever. Yeah. Obvious one. Any of you guys who has one in mind?
I don't know. I feel like all my clutches I get are just like 1v1 to 1v2s. It's not like I can't really think.
That's a clutch. Mine's
I can't think of one where I'm like, yeah, that was so good. It's just like, oh yeah, I clutched.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't really have one.
Also, you had a really good opening game for stage 3 here. So if anything, that game was kind of clutch.
Yeah, I did. I didn't really expect to do that though, because like, especially like think about scrims is like that map I usually didn't do well. Like, so I was kind of like, that sucks. But I don't know, I did well. So
yeah. I mean, like with the roles, I mean, it's because on CL I played a completely different role. Like I was first entry, I'd always be in the map into like 10 seconds in the round. So I'd always like I'd get kills, but I'd die. I wouldn't really like stay up for the rest of the whole round. So I wouldn't never be really in clutch situations. I mean the 2v5 or 2v4 that me and Tyler had, me and Kento had against SSU, that one felt really good. And then the next 2v5 that Benji and Mo clutch was pretty nice as well. Wow, there was just so many clutches that game. melted 1v2 on the basement. That was crazy as well.
Yeah. It's like unwinnable rounds, basically.
Yeah, just like crazy.
I don't think I have any like really impactful clutches.
Yeah,
I have some but like the most fun one was probably I think I had like a 1v4 versus the M1, but we were up like 6-1, so it wasn't like very impactful, but it was definitely fun.
Okay.
Yeah, that one on Beast Coast as well.
Oh yeah, that one was nice.
Yeah.
KPS asked, prefer to start on offense or defense?
Wait, what was the question?
Offense or defense? Like when you're starting sides for pro play? Because I prefer starting defense, like for sure, when I play.
I think it depends on the map.
Oh, okay, obviously that's dependent.
I feel like attack's good. I feel like it's kind of. I feel like when you're in attack, you can set the pace.
Yeah,
you can set tempo. Like if you're trying to win a game of pace, definitely attack. But normally D, I think, because D's easier to settle into.
I think
exactly.
Very dependent on the map and also just like your team's play style. Different teams will prefer different sides. I feel like the maps are they're pretty balanced right now. You know, they're pretty 50-50. So it just really depends on how you're feeling that day.
Yeah, I prefer defense as well.
Yogg's line that 1v5 versus BT was dangerous last set.
Yeah, we lost the game though, so
but won the round, I guess, so to speak. How do you guys feel about OXG doing not so hot this stage, knowing they are a powerhouse in the NAL from Arosa? We kind of touched briefly on it. It's one of those like we all expected them to do well because like they traded one good player for another good player. But and any other thoughts than that?
I think they just need time to figure it out. I think it's just they're having a slow start, but I mean on paper their roster is really good. So I'm sure by the time the next stage rolls around, even the end of this stage, they might start winning some games.
Yeah, I think hopefully not this week.
Hopefully, you guys play them this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think like Lax is such a unique. Like the first time I ever watched Laxing play the game was he was streaming Twitch. He literally was in a bush holding big tower flank on Origin, like for a minute straight, and he got a kill. So like that's every time I think of Laxing, what I think about. He's definitely a unique player.
Oh, certainly.
And I think like Sweater's obviously unique too, but it's different. Sweater's gonna run at people. Laxing's gonna like sit. So it's like definitely just different style.
Something I thought was pretty like weird. It was that like. I feel like people said that the reason they got rid of Lax was because like Lax was way too passive and stuff like that, and they wanted to play the game faster. Then they picked up Sweater, which is like a really like aggressive player and stuff, and I feel like they're playing really slow as well at this stage, you know. Like so it's I don't know if it's like Sweater needs to be in a different role or something like that, but I feel like they swapped players, but they're playing almost the same way, you know, opposite from what they wanted to do. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it's just time as well as to figure it out. I bet they'll do really good.
Mighty T said thoughts on franchising. So obviously Valorant just pulled that stunt. 30 teams franchising. League of Legends done it for like many years. But the TLDR for people that don't know what franchising is, just real quick, is that essentially, you know, teams either have a spot or buy into a spot in the league, and then there's no relegation. So once you're in, you are in. There's no... You know, Challenge League number 1 just gets an auto spot. Challenge number 2, they get like a regulation match. You're just in the Pro League as an organization for the entirety of this season.
Yeah, I'm not too knowledgeable on like how the the biz like the pros of franchising, I guess. Like but I know for like Val, like some of the top teams had to disband because of it. But I mean, like I said, I don't know much about it. I'm sure there's some like good financial business side pros to it.
Yeah, I feel like if you're in it, it's good, and if you're not, it's
exactly right. I mean, I'm a huge fan of tier 2, tier 3 talent and like people like, because like, why would you grind CL for like no money and like while you're studying or working if you can't even make pro league? You grind CL as a team so that the individual star players can get picked up by a franchise team.
Yeah, I feel like
that feels kind of bad.
With that, like especially if you're like a hard support player, it's gonna be really hard to get recognized.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of people are gonna be playing for stats, you know, like people are debating it.
I definitely feel that if Val franchise, I don't know exactly how Val is gonna work. But the way I see it's like if you do franchise, the way you have to promote T2 and T3 growth is you have to allow them to play against T1 teams in tournaments or something. Otherwise, it's just so pointless because it's like it's going to be a complete, like they're walled out and you can't really get in unless you just scrim them. And again, like if you're a fragger, cool, you can have good stats in scrims or even whatever matches you play. But if you're a support, it's like they're not really going to know unless you know people. So I definitely think obviously I don't know what Valve's doing, but I know the franchise obviously, but I don't know how they're going to do their league. But I definitely think they need to do leagues or tourneys where you can at least qualify and still play against these teams. It's fine if you want to have like a league where they're just in or like they're guaranteed spots in majors or whatever. But definitely I need to allow for people to call and play
like an open road as well.
I'd really hope to see more minors, more like definitely. Like DreamHack back in the day. Like, I got my start. The first event I played was a DreamHack way back in the day. And like anyone could go play the bring your own computer qualifier for it. So I think more minors would be a really cool thing to see.
Definitely.
This one might be tough. Ever been a time where you changed teams and had doubts on how it would turn out? You guys are all very young players. And Yoggah, I mean, you made a team change.
Wait, what was the question? I missed that.
Oh, sorry. Near the top from Chase. Was there ever a time where you changed teams and you had doubts on how it would turn out? So, for example, your OXG to XSET situation. For your case, obviously you guys have... I mean, you changed from SG to Mirage, but it wasn't your choice.
Yeah.
So it's like...
I mean, like, even when I, like, for example, like, I had the choice to, like, either go play CL or like join Mirage, you know. And for me, when it was really like a tough decision, you know, because obviously Mirage has been like was last both stages, and I don't want to place last. So like I was really like confused on what should I do, you know. And at the end of the day, I thought about it. I'm like, if all the CL teams are already like closed because of roster locks or way earlier, I was like, I can't not play for a stage, you know, because then I'll just like be forgotten basically. So we might as well. And then we were able to like keep a good roster. And then we were able to pick up Mo, which was a player I trusted a lot. Like I knew he was good. So I definitely had doubts on how it would turn out, but I had confidence at the same time, you know. And I mean, clearly we have shown potential this stage so far.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess it's good.
It's good.
But doubts are always going to be there. I mean, you never know for sure what's going to happen.
You never know. No, you don't. I mean, even if you don't change team, like even picking up a player, you can have doubts with, right? On paper, we look great, but then it's like, how's the chemistry going? What's the realization of it all?
For sure.
Doubts about the process, I think. Oh, how do you get your hair like that, Dexter?
What do you say?
Your hair. How do you get...
Like what?
Like how do you get it like that?
What do you mean?
Some stuff in there? Or?
No, I don't put anything in my hair.
He just wakes up. This looks great.
Yeah, I just blow dry it.
It's the
secret sauce.
Okay. Is that a comb or no comb? Is it the hands?
No, with comb.
Oh, okay. It's like, okay, that's the details they want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Side question or who? This one. Oh,
Focused.
ZMC. How do you say focused in clutch moments? Everyone's got their little secrets, I guess.
I think it's just if you're feeling it, if you're in the flow state, you're feeling it. You know, you don't really think about it.
What if you're not in the flow state and you're kind of like you're choking up and you gotta catch yourself? Do you just tell yourself like you got this? Do you just like do the bolo spin the mouse to feel better? Like what's
I spam my tab key. The scoreboard, I spam that all the time.
Yeah.
That's like my thing.
Mid clutch?
No, not mid clutch, but like, you know, if we just lost a round or something, I'll just sit there and spam it. And like, because then I don't think about it.
You like focus in.
Empty. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is not thinking about it, for me at least. Just playing the game, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I do the spamming like tab thing, but like in clutch, like during the clutch, I feel like I just try to. I feel like breathing is a really like strong thing, like to keep yourself calm, you know, because like obviously on clutch, especially on game day, like your heart's gonna start pumping, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like making sure your like breathing is perfect so that you can stay the calm is the best possible thing. I mean, there's not much, just be confident.
I know some players who hold their breath when they're in a clutch, and it's like if you draw out the clutch, they will like, like they gotta get another breath in. I wouldn't recommend it because it's like if it's a 40-second clutch, I mean you're gonna be running out of oxygen.
That was like the first game they had against Mirage. Like I would really think after the game, I think I drank 4 water bottles like immediately. Like I was so like dead for some reason, and I was fine for that. But definitely can understand that. I don't know. Whenever I'm in a clutch, like you just can't think because like
can't overthink.
Yeah, I just don't think. I would just like if I start thinking, I just say shut up, and I walk around. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
interesting. You just gotta take
interesting.
ones.
That's interesting. I'm the complete opposite. I see it like chess where, because I'm not a mechanical player, so I don't rely on my aim ever. It's always positioning or decision making. So I pre-plan basically every single scenario. The benefit of me having a long career is that I've been in every single clutch scenario in the world, or most of them many times before. So whenever I'm presented with like a situation, I'm like, I always know what I want to do. So I'm always thinking, like, if he's gonna go right, I'm gonna go over here. If he goes for like a drone, I'm gonna reposition. Like I'm always thinking next step.
I do the same thing. I think that's a fair point. It's like I just don't think about like the pressure of like
you don't
the
think
impact
about
of the round, you know? Because if it's like a 7-7 round, you know, in grand finals or something, you just gotta not think about the impact and just focus on, you know, thinking about the right stuff. Thinking about
so it's the pressure and the nerves you don't think about, not actually your decision making. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were saying you're like, I feel the one step coming, and then you hope for the best, you know.
I don't know. It's like, cause like in scrims when you're in clutches, the reason I don't think is because like on game day, if I start thinking, like I just want to make it consistent. So I get used to scrims not thinking, and afterwards I'll review like, okay, I should have done this. So then like I just want to train my instincts to just be the best they can be. So then it's like I can be consistent. It's not like if there's pressure or whatever, it doesn't affect me. That's why I just have to think when I play.
No, I think that makes sense. Gonna wrap it up. Give a little thank you for watching. Of course, we're going to follow the guys on Twitter and social media. If you can't find them, well, I couldn't either because I didn't follow them before this. So we got, you guys shout out your own Twitters?
Yeah, Gasher R6, guys.
Okay.
But my Twitch stream has an S at the end. Don't get confused.
Okay.
My Twitter's got an underscore at the end, so it's Yoggah, but underscore at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is just Dexter R6 underscore as well.
Sick. And that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed watching and listening to some of the new players in the league. Good luck to you guys with the rest of Stage 3, and hopefully we'll see some of you guys at either at the major or the invite later on or early next year. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.